The return. The alarms screamed across the Galactic defense station like angry metal birds. Commander Zex-9 of the Andorian fleet jumped from his meditation pod, his forearms reaching for his weapons before his brain could catch up. "What's happening?" he barked into his comm device. "Sir, you need to see this," came the shaky voice of his sensor operator. "Something just dropped out of hyperspace near Kepler 442. Something impossible." Zex-9 rushed to the command center, his armored boots clanking against the metal floor. The main screen showed a ship unlike anything he'd seen in his 300 years of service. It was massive, bigger than a battlecruiser but sleeker than a transport. Its hull was a strange blue-gray color that seemed to shimmer and change in the starlight. "Run a scan," Zex-9 ordered. "I want to know everything about that vessel." The sensor operator's tentacles danced over his control panel. "Sir, the readings are strange. The ship appears to be made of materials we don't recognize. Its power source is off the charts, more energy than our entire station produces." "What about its origin?" A long pause. "Sir, according to our database, this ship design matches records from the old archives, the ones marked as extinct species." Zex-9 felt his blood turn cold. "You mean?" "Yes, sir. It appears to be a human vessel, from Earth." The bridge fell silent except for the hum of machinery. Every being in the galaxy knew about humans. They were legends now, stories told to young ones about a species so dangerous that 5 different alien races had to work together to destroy their homeworld. That was over 2,000 years ago, but humans were supposed to be extinct. The communications officer suddenly straightened. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the vessel." "Put it through." The main screen flickered and a face appeared that made several crew members step backward. It was human, pale skin, strange round eyes, and hair the color of starlight. But it was the look in those eyes that made Zex-9's hands tremble. There was no fear, no confusion, only a cold, calculating intelligence. "Greetings," the human said in perfect galactic standard. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earthship Defiance. We've been away for quite some time." Zex-9 found his voice. "Human, you are entering restricted space. Your species was declared extinct over 2 millennia ago." Captain Chen smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant sight. "Reports of our death were greatly exaggerated, Commander. We've been exploring, learning, growing stronger. That's impossible. Earth was destroyed. We have the records. You destroyed our world, yes, but you didn't destroy our people. We had colonies, hidden bases, generation ships already traveling to distant stars. While you celebrated our extinction, we rebuilt. We learned from our mistakes," the tactical officer whispered urgently to Zex-9. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout that ship. Their weapons are powering up," Captain Chen continued as if she could hear every word. "For 2,000 years we've watched the galaxy from the shadows. We've seen how you divided our former territories, how you enslaved species weaker than yourselves, how you've grown fat and lazy, thinking yourselves the masters of space. What do you want?" Zex-9 demanded. "What we've always wanted. What you took from us." Her eyes grew hard as diamonds. "We want our home back. All of it." The screen went dark. Immediately the sensor operator started shouting. "Sir, the human ship is moving. It's heading directly for the Galactic capital." "Alert all fleets," Zex-9 ordered. "Tell them we have a Code Alpha situation. The humans have returned." As the Defiance accelerated past their station, moving faster than should have been possible, Zex-9 watched the impossible ship disappear into the distance. In the old stories, humans were said to be the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever known. They were said to be unpredictable, savage, and worst of all, clever. Looking at his crew's terrified faces, Zex-9 realized those old stories might not have been legends after all. They might have been warnings. The awakening, 3 hours after the Defiance left the defense station. Every military commander in the galaxy received the same message. The humans were back. Admiral Korath of the Zephyrian Empire was in the middle of his victory feast when the news arrived. He'd just conquered another small system, adding 3 more planets to his collection. His scaled hide glistened with the oils of celebration as he dismissed the messenger with a wave of his massive claw. "One ship," he laughed, his voice booming across the great hall. One ship of extinct primitives. Send a patrol squadron to deal with it. Captain Vex, his most trusted officer, approached carefully. Sir, perhaps we should take this more seriously. The old records about humans are fairy tales. Korath slammed his fist on the table, making the dishes jump. Stories to scare children. I was there when we glassed their pathetic world. I saw it burn. But even as he spoke, doubt crept into Korath's mind. He remembered that day, 2,000 years ago. He'd been a young officer then, serving on one of the ships that had bombarded Earth. They'd thought it would be easy. Humans had seemed so weak, so divided. They'd been wrong. The humans had fought back with a fury that had surprised everyone. Their ships were smaller, their weapons weaker, but they'd been fearless. They'd rammed their vessels into alien battleships. They'd set off nuclear devices inside enemy vessels, sacrificing themselves to take down ships 100 times their size. It had taken the combined might of 5 alien races to finally defeat them. Sir, Captain Vex interrupted his thoughts. The patrol squadron is reporting in. The main screen activated, showing the face of Squadron Commander Thes, a young Zephyrian with bright green scales. Admiral, we've found the human vessel. It's incredible, sir. The ship is massive, and our sensors can barely penetrate its hull. It appears to be heading for the Centauri system. Attack it, Korath ordered. Sir, I don't think I said attack it. Through the screen, they watched as 12 Zephyrian fighters approached the human ship. The Defiance seemed to ignore them, continuing on its path toward Centauri Prime, the capital world of the galaxy. Then the human ship's weapons activated. What happened next would be talked about in military academies for generations. The Defiance didn't use conventional weapons. Instead, streams of pure energy, brighter than stars, lanced out from its hull. Each beam found a Zephyrian fighter, and each fighter simply vanished, not destroyed, not blown apart. They just ceased to exist, as if they'd been erased from reality itself. The entire attack lasted less than 10 seconds. Squadron Commander Thes's voice was barely a whisper. All fighters destroyed, Admiral. The human ship is continuing toward Centauri Prime. Estimated arrival time 6 hours. Korath stared at the screen in shock. 12 of his best fighters gone without even scratching the human vessel. Get me the Galactic Council, he ordered. Now. Within an hour, holographic images of the 5 most powerful beings in the galaxy flickered to life around Korath's command table. The Andorian President, the Crystalline Collective's Prime Mind, the Vortan War Leader, the Metallic Syndicate's CEO Unit, and High Priestess Sha'ara of the Divine Order. You all know why we're here, Korath began. The humans have returned. The Prime Mind's crystalline form pulsed with worry. Our calculations show this is impossible. Human extinction was confirmed by multiple sources. Apparently your calculations were wrong, Korath snapped. The Vortan War Leader, a creature of living shadow, spoke in a voice like grinding stone. How many ships do they have? So far we've only seen one, but that one ship just destroyed an entire fighter squadron without taking any damage. High Priestess Sha'ara, her ethereal form glowing with inner light, raised her hand for attention. Perhaps we should try diplomacy. The humans may be willing to negotiate. Negotiate. Korath's roar echoed through the chamber. They declared war on us the moment they returned. They want their territory back. The Andorian President, his 4 arms folded in thought, asked the question they were all thinking. How powerful are they now? It's been 2,000 years. What have they been doing all this time? Before anyone could answer, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Captain Vex rushed in, his face pale. Admiral, you need to see this. The human ship has reached Centauri Prime. The main screen showed the capital world of the galaxy, a gleaming planet covered in massive cities and orbital stations, home to over 50 billion beings from hundreds of different species. The Defiance hung in orbit above it, silent and menacing. Then Captain Chen's face appeared on every screen. Every communication device, every holographic display across the entire galaxy. Her voice was calm, but her words sent chills down the spine of every alien who heard them. Citizens of the galaxy, I am Captain Sarah Chen, representing the human survivors. 2,000 years ago, you destroyed our world and scattered our people. You thought you had won. You were mistaken." She paused, letting her words sink in. "We have spent 2 millennia preparing for this moment. We have grown stronger, smarter, and more determined. Today, we reclaim what was taken from us. To those who stand against us, we offer the same mercy you showed our ancestors. To those who surrender, we offer a chance to live in peace under human protection." The transmission ended. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then the crystalline prime mind's form pulsed rapidly with panic. "Admiral, our sensors are detecting massive energy buildups throughout that ship. Whatever they're planning to do..." The screen erupted in light. When the brightness faded, Centauri Prime was still there. But every orbital defense platform, every military station, every warship in the system had vanished without a trace. The humans had just disarmed the most heavily defended system in the galaxy without firing a shot at the planet itself. Captain Chen's voice came through the speakers one more time, soft but deadly. "We'll give you 24 hours to consider our terms. Choose wisely." The hunt. The emergency session of the Galactic Council lasted 18 hours. In conference, rooms across 100 worlds, military leaders argued, diplomats debated, and scientists scrambled to understand the impossible technology the humans had displayed. Finally, Admiral Korath slammed his fist on the table so hard it cracked the titanium surface. "Enough," he roared. "While we sit here talking, they're making fools of us. I say we gather every ship we have and end this now." High Priestess Shara's ethereal form flickered with worry. "Admiral, perhaps we should consider their offer. Clearly they've advanced far beyond." "Never." The Vorthan war leader's shadow form twisted with rage. "I will not bow to extinct primitives." The Andorian president raised all 4 of his hands for silence. "Friends, we must be logical. One human ship defeated our best squadron and destroyed an entire defense grid without effort. We need to know what we're facing before we act." That's when the first reports started coming in. The humans weren't waiting for an answer. The Defiance had left Centauri Prime and was moving through the galaxy like a predator hunting prey. Every military base it encountered was given the same choice: surrender or be destroyed. Most chose to fight. None survived. Captain Vex rushed into the council chamber, his scales pale with fear. "Sirs, we're receiving reports from across the galaxy. The human ship has destroyed military installations in the Kepler, Vega, and Altair systems. Over 300 ships lost, and they haven't even slowed down." The crystalline prime mind pulsed frantically. "How is this possible? Our weapons should be able to damage any ship." "That's just it," Vex replied. "Our weapons are hitting them. We can confirm direct hits. But nothing happens. It's like their ship is protected by some kind of shield we don't understand." Admiral Korath stood up, his massive form casting shadows across the room. "Then we use bigger weapons, ready the planet crackers." Planet crackers were the most powerful weapons in the galactic arsenal, massive devices capable of splitting worlds in half. They'd been used to destroy Earth 2,000 years ago. "Sir," Captain Vex hesitated. "Are you sure? Planet crackers have never been used against a single ship before." "Do it." 3 hours later, the trap was set. The human ship was traveling through the Rigel system, apparently heading for another military target. 5 planet cracker ships waited in ambush, their massive weapons charged and ready. Admiral Korath watched from his flagship as the Defiance entered the kill zone. "Fire," he ordered. 5 beams of pure destruction, each one capable of cracking a planet, struck the human ship simultaneously. The explosion was so bright it could be seen from 3 star systems away. When the light faded, space was empty, except for drifting debris. "Target destroyed," the weapons officer announced. "The human ship has been eliminated." Cheers erupted across the bridge. After hours of watching their forces get destroyed, they'd finally struck back. The celebration lasted exactly 30 seconds. "Sir," the sensor operator's voice was barely a whisper. "I'm detecting something." "What?" "The debris. It's moving." On the screen, they watched in horror as the scattered pieces of the human ship began to flow back together like liquid metal. In minutes, the Defiance was whole again, looking exactly as it had before the attack. Captain Chen's face appeared on their screen, and she was smiling. "Thank you for the demonstration," she said calmly. "We weren't sure how well our new technology would work against your planet crackers. Now we know." "Impossible," Korath whispered. "Admiral, your people keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means." Chen's smile grew wider. 2,000 years ago, you nearly wiped us out. We learned from that experience. We decided we would never be that vulnerable again. She gestured to something off-screen, and suddenly the space around the planet cracker. Ships filled with smaller human vessels, sleek, fast ships that seemed to appear from nowhere. "Allow me to introduce you to our hunter fleet. They've been following your ship for the past hour, cloaked and waiting." The 5 massive planet crackers, ships the size of cities, tried to turn their weapons on the smaller human vessels. They never got the chance. The hunter ships moved like living things, dancing between the larger vessels' weapons and striking with surgical precision. Within minutes, all 5 planet crackers had been reduced to scrap metal, but the humans weren't done. As Admiral Korath watched in growing terror, more human ships began to appear throughout the galaxy. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Each one was different. Some were small and fast, like the hunters. Others were massive dreadnoughts that dwarfed anything the aliens had built. But they all shared the same impossible technology that made them nearly invulnerable. Captain Chen's voice came through the communication system one more time. "For 2,000 years, we've been preparing for this day. We've built ships, trained crews, and developed weapons you can't imagine. But most importantly, we've learned patience." The screen showed human fleets surrounding every major alien world, every important military base, every center of power in the galaxy. "We could have returned as soon as we rebuilt our strength. We could have struck when you weren't ready. But we waited. We watched. We learned everything about you, your weaknesses, your fears, your secrets." Admiral Korath realized with growing horror what she was saying. The galaxy has been under human observation for centuries. We know about your private communications, your secret weapons, your hidden bases. We know which of your leaders are corrupt, which of your generals are cowards, and which of your worlds would welcome liberation from your rule. She paused, letting the implications sink in. "The war isn't starting now, Admiral. The war has already been won. We're just here to collect our victory." The choice, the message that went out across the galaxy was simple. Surrender now or face the consequences. Most military leaders chose to fight. They shouldn't have. The human assault wasn't like the old wars, where massive fleets clashed in space battles that lasted for days. This was something entirely different. A demonstration of technology so advanced it seemed like magic. On the industrial world of Factory Prime, home to the galaxy's largest weapons manufacturing center, the humans didn't attack the defensive fleet at all. Instead, a single small human ship approached the planet and released what looked like silver dust into the atmosphere. Within hours, every piece of military equipment on the planet had simply stopped working. Weapons wouldn't fire, ships wouldn't fly, even personal devices shut down. But civilian technology, hospitals, schools, power plants, continued to function perfectly. The planet surrendered without a shot being fired. On the fortress world of Iron Gate, supposedly the most heavily defended planet in the galaxy, the humans tried a different approach. They broadcast a signal that somehow reached every alien on the planet simultaneously. bypassing all communication networks. The message was simple. Look up. In the sky above Iron Gate, the humans had arranged their ships to spell out words in letters of light large enough to read from the planet's surface. The words were in every language spoken on the planet. We know about the camps. Iron Gate was one of the galaxy's darkest secrets, a world where undesirable alien species were sent to disappear. The ruling Vorthan Council had spent centuries denying the camps existed, but the humans had proof. They broadcast images, documents, recorded conversations, evidence that the supposedly noble galactic government had been systematically eliminating entire species for hundreds of years. The planet's own population rose up in revolution within hours. Admiral Korath watched these reports from his flagship, feeling his carefully ordered world crumble around him. How did the humans know these things? How long had they been watching? Sir, Captain Vex approached carefully. We're receiving surrender offers from 17 systems. The humans they're not harming anyone who gives up. They're actually protecting civilian populations from military forces that try to use them as shields. Korath's claws scraped against the metal of his command chair. They're trying to turn the galaxy against us. Sir, with respect, they don't need to try. Look at these reports. The screens around the bridge showed scenes from dozens of worlds. On planets where alien military forces had tried to fight in populated areas, human ships had used some kind of precision technology to disable only the military targets. Weapons vanished from soldiers' hands. Military vehicles stopped working, but not a single civilian had been harmed. On worlds where corrupt officials had tried to flee with stolen wealth, human ships had intercepted their escape vessels and returned the stolen goods to the rightful owners. Most shocking of all, on worlds where different alien species had been at war with each other, human peacekeeping forces had somehow ended conflicts that had raged for centuries, usually by revealing hidden truths about who had really started the fighting and why. They're not just conquering us, Korath realized with growing dread. They're liberating us. That's when the personal message arrived. Captain Chen's face appeared on his private communication screen, the one that was supposed to be impossible to hack. "Hello, Admiral," she said pleasantly. "I think it's time we talked. I have nothing to say to you." Korath snarled. "Oh, but I have so much to say to you. You see, Admiral, I know who you are. I know you were there when Earth burned. I know you personally gave the order to target our civilian centers." Korath's blood ran cold. How could she know that? "I also know about your private collection, the one you keep hidden in your quarters, the souvenirs you took from human settlements before you destroyed them." She held up a small object, a child's toy, burned and twisted. Korath recognized it immediately. He'd taken it from a human colony ship before ordering the vessel destroyed. He'd kept it as a reminder of his victory. "How did you—" "Admiral, we've been watching you for a very long time. We know about every atrocity you've committed, every innocent life you've taken, every crime you've hidden from your own people." The screen flickered, and suddenly Korath was looking at recordings, surveillance footage from his own ship, showing him giving orders to kill human prisoners. Audio recordings of him laughing as human colonies burned. "Your own crew doesn't know about these, do they?" Chen asked. "They think they're serving an honorable military leader. They have no idea what kind of monster you really are." Captain Vex, standing behind Korath, was staring at the screens in horror. "Sir, is this true?" Korath spun around, his massive form towering over his subordinate. "Captain, you will not—" "Actually, he will," Chen interrupted. "Captain Vex, your admiral has been lying to you for centuries. Check your ship's sealed records, authorization code Omega 77 Alpha. You'll find evidence of war crimes that would shock even you." Vex moved to his control panel with trembling hands. "Don't you dare." Korath lunged toward him, but suddenly found himself unable to move. Some kind of energy field held him frozen in place. "Sorry, Admiral," Chen said, "but it's time for the truth to come out." On screens throughout the ship, the evidence played out for all to see. Centuries of hidden crimes, covered-up atrocities. Innocent beings murdered for sport or convenience. The crew of Korath's flagship stared at their leader with growing disgust and horror. "Admiral," Captain Vex said quietly, "you're under arrest for war crimes. You can't do this to me." Korath raged. "I am the admiral of the Zephyrian fleet." "No," said a new voice. "You were." The main screen showed the face of General Thys, Korath's own second-in-command, speaking from the fleet's secondary command ship. "By order of the Zephyrian Military Council, you are hereby stripped of rank and command. The fleet surrenders to human authority." Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. As the humans revealed the hidden crimes of corrupt leaders, their own people turned against them. Military officers arrested their commanders. Civilian populations rose up against oppressive governments. The galactic government wasn't being conquered from outside, it was collapsing from within. "Captain," Chen's voice came through the speakers one final time. "This is what happens when you build an empire on lies and cruelty. Eventually the truth comes out. And when it does, the people you've oppressed will choose freedom over fear." She paused, her image looking directly at every viewer. "The old galaxy is dead. Tomorrow we begin building a better one." The new dawn 6 months later. The galaxy was a very different place. The massive prison ships that had once held political prisoners were empty. Their former inmates returned to their homeworlds. The slave markets that had operated in the shadows of civilized space were closed forever. The secret police forces that had terrorized entire populations had been disbanded, but the most dramatic changes were happening on Earth itself, the planet that had been reduced to radioactive ash 2,000 years ago was green again. Somehow, using technology that amazed even human scientists, the returning Earth ships had restored their devastated world in a matter of months. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the orbital station that now served as the galaxy's capital. Through the transparent aluminum windows, she could see Earth spinning slowly below. Blue oceans, white clouds, green continents teeming with life. "The terraforming is proceeding ahead of schedule," reported Dr. Marcus Webb, the chief restoration scientist. "The atmospheric processes are working perfectly. We should have the entire planet habitable within another year." Sarah nodded, but her attention was focused on the other ships in orbit. Not all of them were human. Alien vessels from dozens of species had come to Earth, not as conquerors or enemies, but as allies. The Crystalline Collective had offered to help rebuild human cities with their advanced construction techniques. The peaceful branch of the Andorian Republic had provided medical supplies and doctors to help heal the galaxy's wounds. Even some reformed Zephyrians, led by the former Captain Vex, had asked to help with the restoration efforts. "Captain," her communication officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Assembly." "They're ready to vote on the new charter," Sarah smiled. The Galactic Assembly was nothing like the old Galactic Council. Instead of being controlled by a few powerful military leaders, it included representatives from every species in the galaxy, even the small, weak ones who had been ignored or oppressed before. The new charter would establish principles that had never existed in galactic law before. The right of all species to self-determination, the prohibition of slavery and genocide, the protection of civilian populations during conflicts, and the establishment of an independent peacekeeping force to prevent any one species from dominating the others. "Put them through," Sarah ordered. The main screen activated, showing the vast assembly hall on Luna Station. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds were gathered there, their forms ranging from the crystalline structures of the collective to the energy beings of the divine order to species Sarah had never seen before. Small, timid races that had hidden in the galaxy's remote corners, too afraid to make contact with the larger civilizations. President Zath of the Assembly, a wise old creature from a species that had survived 3 different galactic wars by staying neutral, stood at the central podium. "Citizens of the galaxy," she said, her translator converting her words into hundreds of languages simultaneously. "Today we vote on a new future. A future where might does not make right, where the strong protect the weak instead of exploiting them, and where differences are celebrated rather than feared." The vote was overwhelming. Of the 847 species represented in the Assembly, 834 voted in favor of the new charter. Only 13 opposed it, mostly the remnants of the old military hierarchies who still dreamed of returning to power. As the results were announced, Sarah felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to see Admiral Jackson Torres, the overall commander of the human fleet and her old friend from their days in exile. "Congratulations, Sarah," he said quietly. "We did it. We actually did it." "We?" Sarah smiled. "This wasn't just humans, Jack. Look down there. Those beings voted for freedom themselves. We just gave them the chance." Through the window, she could see ships from hundreds of worlds working together to build the new Earth. Crystalline builders worked alongside human engineers. Vortan energy experts collaborated with Andorian technicians. Former enemies had become partners in creating something better than what had come before. "Do you ever wonder if we did the right thing?" Jack asked. 2,000 years of planning, all leading to this moment. What if we had been wrong? Sarah thought about that question. She remembered the hidden colonies where human survivors had lived in fear for centuries, afraid to reveal themselves to a galaxy that had tried to wipe them out. She remembered the secret bases where human children had grown up learning about the homeworld they'd never seen. She remembered the generation ships that had wandered the void for millennia, carrying refugees who died before they could see their people return to power, but she also remembered what they'd found when they finally returned. A galaxy ruled by fear, where the strong preyed on the weak and entire species could be enslaved or exterminated on a whim. A civilization that had forgotten the difference between strength and brutality. "No," she said finally. "We did the right thing. Look at them, Jack. Look how happy they are." On the screen, the assembly was celebrating. Beings who had been enemies for centuries were working together. Species that had been enslaved were free. The small and weak were protected alongside the large and strong. It wasn't perfect. There would be problems, conflicts, disagreements. But for the first time in galactic history, those problems would be solved through negotiation and law, rather than conquest and genocide. "Captain," the communication officer called out again. "We're receiving a priority transmission from Deep Space Station Alpha. They report contact with an unknown species from outside our galaxy." Sarah and Jack exchanged glances. First contact with aliens from beyond their own galaxy. That could mean anything from new trading partners to a massive invasion fleet. "What do we know about them?" Sarah asked. "Very little. They appear to be peaceful. They're requesting permission to enter our space and establish diplomatic relations." Sarah smiled. 6 months ago, any unknown aliens would have been met with weapons fire and demands for surrender. Now the galaxy's first instinct was diplomacy. "Grant them safe passage and invite them to Earth," she ordered. "Let's show them how civilized beings greet their neighbors." As the orders went out, Sarah looked down at the blue-green world spinning below. Earth was home again, not just to humans, but to anyone who believed in freedom, justice, and peace. The lost Earth ship had returned indeed, and its power had not just defied the galaxy, it had transformed it. The age of empires built on fear and conquest was over. The age of cooperation and hope had begun. And somewhere in the depths of space, other lost peoples, other scattered survivors, other species dreaming of freedom, received a signal that would echo across the universe. This is Earth calling. If you believe in liberty and justice for all beings, you have a home here. Come home. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what the humans had been planning for 2,000 years. The end.